past. Common Man Program on comedies tend to be the legendary one. Mark Rosen is here as well. A heartbreaker. That was a heartbreaker for you, Rosie.
That may be the best I've ever played, and that's Carly was good. I credit Lil B. I mean, I don't know how in the world she got spread out of butter. I mean, I could think of a whole bunch of answers for butter. I wouldn't have said that.
No, of course you wouldn't.
No, I would not have. I would have said, I don't know. Not margarine. That wouldn't have been a good clue. I guess spread does make sense. But anyway, kudos to them. We came so close.
Yeah, and yet so far.
Yeah, so far. Yep. Oh, well.
Well, you know what?
Give it our best shot.
And you know what?
It was fun.
You've had a lot of victories in your life. A lot of victories in your life. So this is just a minor setback.
Just a minor blip.
Just a minor setback.
You're just a winner at life in general.
Yeah, you're a winner at life.
I had fun. I hope the audience had fun.
Now, think about it. Now you don't have to worry about 2 or 3 more.
I know.
You're done now.
My summer is now free.
It's just free.
On Fridays.
I always love that
one. It's just good for you. We're so happy for you.
I know you are. I can tell. I can tell.
Where do you want to start today? Anything in particular?
I was... like a lot of sports fans last night, flipping around. My frustration level with this baseball team maybe hit its zenith for this season last night.
I tried to warn you.
Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, obviously, any pitcher is going to. Bailey Ober had one of those innings. First inning was just, it happens. Normally, the better pitchers, you got to get him in the first inning. Well, Bailey Ober was his worst enemy, but he gave up 4 runs before they even had an out. So. Okay, stuff like that happens. So you don't, and he pitched well afterwards. I don't understand. The Twins got only 4 hits, and this is a continuing problem. We've talked about it over and over again that it hasn't been so much. Certainly, their starting pitching, the relief pitching has left a lot to be desired at times. But their lack of clutch hitting, lack of hitting at all through that lineup, all the more reason why my jaw was just open. Rocco pinch hit, the Giants had an opener. Then they brought in a left-hander. Alex Kirilloff is one of the best hitters on this team. And he pinch hit Garlick for him in the 3rd inning, not the 7th. I understand you want to get a lefty against the, righty against the lefty. If it's the 7th or 8th inning, not the 3rd inning, you're taking one of your best hitters out of the game in a situation that down the road they'll probably have a right-hander in there. But the point is, Kirilloff's a really good hitter. And if he doesn't have that experience, let him continue to get at-bats against him. That stuff just drives me crazy. And I don't know why he's pulling those switches like that. Maybe he's just desperate, but he also took Julian out of the game. And I guess he's trying for something to spark this team offensively, and it's just not happening right now. And it's just very discouraging. I mean, they're 2 games over 500 now, and unfortunately in the division. The National League Central is very similar to this one, where I think Pittsburgh and Milwaukee are also like 2-3 games over 500.
I don't know how often you receive emails or look at message boards, but it seems to be a frequent occurrence and has been for a while. And look, he wouldn't be the only coach / manager that has been the subject of complaints. I see him all the time. Baldelli's a terrible manager, can't handle a pitch. You see him after every loss. And my response to people is, I even got one today that when I checked my emails this morning before I came into work was, Baldelli's got to be fired.
I see that on social media.
He mismanages this, he mismanages that. And, I don't watch every game start to finish. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many decisions are made purely by him, how many are in concert with the other coaches. And second guessing is part of the game. Right. I don't know I don't know if he's a poor manager or not. What you just cited there, I agree with 100% pinch hitting for Kirilloff at that moment.
In the 3rd inning.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to make much sense to me. Every manager, even the best in the world, have made mistakes, calculated errors. So I don't know what to say if Baldelli is a bad manager, a good manager, or somewhere in between.
Mm-hmm. Well, and again,
I put it this way. Someone asked if he should be fired. I said, no. His job is safe for this year. There's certainly, but if they were to go on, let's say, they were in the catbird seat last year with 30 games to go.
Right.
And they finished 10-20. Now, again, we've talked about this before. managers manage, players play, coaches coach, players play. It's more on the players, I think, than any coaching. But if something were similar to happen again, a very winnable division where you have a really good pitching staff, your offense can't get going. If they were to suffer another end of the season like they did last year, let's say it was similar, where all of a sudden they've got the division lead, 3, 4, 5 games, lose the division, I think there would certainly be questions about whether he should be brought back.
Yeah, you look at this team, and I think they're, generally speaking, even at the beginning of the year, you look at them, they're a 500 baseball team. They're probably going to win 81, 82 games. That's probably around that slot, maybe give or take a few either way. But when you get the starting pitching that you're getting right now, which is really the surprise for them, and they, almost night after night, and Ober recovered. You got, Sonny Gray and Joe Ryan. You go down the list, Lopez. Correa's doing nothing. Buxton's hardly doing it. The lineup from start to finish is barely causing a ripple. So is that the manager's fault? No, but it certainly doesn't help when you, to me, again, like you make a move like you did in the third inning last night.
We'll take a break. We'll take a break. We'll come back. It's the Common Man Program with Common Teneby and the legendary one, Mark Rosen, right here on The Fan.
Take a minute to concentrate and she opens up her eyes.
KFAN.
Does if you're playing the radio version. I think you stumbled upon the album version, which is okay. It's better. It does take a while to get.
It's better, but maybe not great for talk radio bumper music purposes.
But we don't care about that because I've let songs play right to the very end. There have been times where I haven't gotten back to the studio. You've had to start a second piece of bumper music, so that wasn't as bad as sometimes. He's the legendary one, Mark Rosen. He's tend to be on the Common Man. There are certain players that seem to thrive when Jimmy Butler.
Lil B you're talking about?
Well, yeah, Lil B would be one of them. Jimmy Butler, I think, there are people that like when people seem to be against him and they're kind of portrayed as a bad guy. I think Jimmy Butler is that way by a lot of people, and I think he loves it, and he showed it again. I mean, he is dismantling almost. He's not doing it single. Bam has a lot to do with it, and so do the role players. Teneby and I talked about that earlier. They have 2 starters on their team that were undrafted free agents. And people wonder, how can they be starting? And I think what happens, this is my theory anyways, guys that are drafted are usually, All-Americans. They were Burger King All-Americans, everything, right? So they get to a team and they're used to kind of being the man and this and that and the other thing. And then but if you get on a team with let's say with LeBron James and Street Clothes and a couple other guys, well, no, we don't need you to do the things you did when you played for St. John's or when you played for Pepperdine. We need you to be a role player. And some of those guys I don't think are quite fit for that, where these undrafted guys, like Teneby said, love the NBA paycheck. I mean, you want me to do what? Play really hard defense?
I can do that.
Is that what you want me to do?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want, I'd like to shoot. I could be Steph, but if this is what you want me to do, I'll do it. And they seem to have those players, and Jimmy rallies them around, and Bam he's playing with as much confidence as any player in the league. Again, what I saw the other night. And, no team's ever come back from a 3-0 deficit. I don't expect Boston to do that. And I'm not even convinced that they can beat Joker and Denver. But, boy, it's fun to watch Jimmy Butler and Miami play basketball.
Well, they have more than a couple. They have a handful of guys that are undrafted, which speaks
correct.
well to, I think, again, you kind of circle back to what the Timberwolves are trying to do. And I think they're modeling themselves more after what Denver without, having a player right now of Jokic's caliber. But Jimmy Butler is absolutely playing mind games with the Celtics too. He's he's not only a sensational player come playoff time, but he's in their heads. And I know some of the Celtics are yakking a little about, hey, don't let us win one, watch out.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine. They better say that, because right now they look about as dysfunctional as any team in a championship series has ever looked, given their regular season resume and the stars that they have on that team. I wouldn't be surprised. I think Miami wants to finish this thing off, and then imagine having both of these series end in 4 games. Then they have to wait till June 1st before the finals begin. And for those who think
June 1st of next year, 2024,
I think so.
That's what it seems like.
Well, I mean, the other thing is, we both like watching playoff basketball. I like watching playoff hockey, but the idea that people would be saying things like, "Oh, wait, who wants to watch Denver and Miami?" And I'm going, "What? Have you watched these teams this year?" I absolutely love that series. I will. We're going to see it. But I don't think it's because the Lakers aren't in it or the Celtics aren't in it.
I think the average.
I understand that.
What's the word I'm looking at? The casual fan.
Yeah.
They do want the marquee names. They they know Splash Brothers. They know
right.
Greek Freak. They know those names. And so, yeah, I can understand. But no, I'm with you. I think it has the makings for a great matchup. Though, look, Milwaukee was the number 1 seed, Boston 2, Knickerbockers 5. They're beating a 1, 2, and a 5.
Right.
I tell you what, if hats off to them if they can beat Denver. Denver is such a complete team, and the Joker is. I mean, amazing. He just set a record, NBA playoff record, most triple doubles with 8, and tend to be mentioned that he set the record. And as tend to be pointed out, not only set the record, he's got up to 7 more games to add on to that record. It could be as little as 4, as many as 7.
And the 3 series he's been in haven't exactly gone very long.
No.
Right? 1 went to 6?
No.
Yeah, I think 1 went to 6.
The other went 4 and 5.
Wolves beat him once.
Just a dominant performance. He's so talented, and boy, if they can find a way to beat Denver, that's a hell of a
kudos
achievement.
To the Nuggets first championship ever in 47 years, whatever it is, and they've been building towards this. That's what I like about, this day and age where we've talked about it for a long time, how the players sort of dictate, we're going to put together a super team.
Correct.
Denver has really molded this team over the last 4 or 5 years. We've seen the evolution of this team. They're getting better, they're dealing with some playoff frustrations, and then, and I, when I watched them play the Wolves, I remember my son was in town. I went, God, this Denver team is really polished. They're really good. And the Wolves, gave them a pretty good run for, a couple of those games. They beat them once and, were pretty competitive in a couple other ones. But they're a polished team, great bench, coaching staff. I mean, Ryan Saunders is having the time of his life. I mean, keep in mind, he's a top assistant with that team. He's very vocal. I'm sure having the time of his life, and great to land on his feet. And now with the Denver Nuggets, which potentially will lead to another head coaching opportunity for Ryan. But it's about the players, and they have a very, very good team.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. One last segment to go with Mark Rosen, tend to be in the Common Man, right here on The Fan.
Deep inside, find a corner.
Else on The Fan.
Common Man Program. I'm Common. He's 10 to B. Mark Rosen is here as well. Vikings are hosting the team owner meetings this week over at the new Winter Park, TCO Performance Center. One nugget that came out today was Green Bay will get the 2025 NFL Draft, and from what I understand, it'll be hosted at in downtown Green Bay at Pizza Ranch.
Why not?
Watch only pick a place big enough that in Green Bay to where are they going to host it in Green Bay?
Well, I guess
I went to a wedding reception at Brett Favre's Steakhouse once.
It might have to be Brett Favre's Steakhouse.
Maybe the parking lot of Kroll's where we've had the Butterburger more than a couple times. Common, that's I don't know.
I can't think of a. But more power to them.
They like to shift it around.
They'll eat that up.
It's definitely going to Green Bay in a couple of years.
The other Tennessee brought up the other development. One of them was flex game Thursdays now, which makes sense.
Late in the year,
the Thursday games, because every team has to play one.
Right.
that oftentimes poses some games that become meaningless at the end of the year, throughout the year, and some matchups that aren't that really. Because there are many teams, like, for instance, the Kitties for years would never be on a primetime game because they're never any good. So now when every team has to play on a Thursday, you could get two woefully abysmal teams playing each other on a Thursday night. And it's like, you can have two teams that are sub 500 playing, and they'll still get an audience, but not like if all of a sudden you go, let's dump that piece of garbage and let's go with, hey, let's move this game, which would be, a game between two contending teams.
There has to be a 28-day window, I believe, between to alert the teams and fans who want to travel and act accordingly. But they're in the business of selling numbers and of selling, getting not just fans in the stands, but fans in front of their television sets to buy the products that they're selling. And the NFL does it better than anyone. And so the opportunity for them to flex yet another night of the week, as opposed not just Sunday nights, gives them that opportunity to have much better matchups as the season goes along, and hopefully teams will have enough time to adjust, and I'm sure they will. If you get a 28-day window, you have no choice. That's just the way it is. But the NFL is in the business of making money and selling numbers, and like I said, no one does it better than them.
No,
so that's they continue their meetings in Egan and. Lots of other little things going on. They're going to change. We hear the update. They're going to change. Now you can do a fair catch at a kickoff to place the ball on the 25-yard line. So that's going to change some strategy. That's for sure. Like you do in the college games. I still have a hard time getting used to that. Where you see a guy in college football, signal for a fair catch on the 5-yard line, and they go, "Oh, but why would he do that?" And they put the ball. They say it's a safety thing. They always can fall back on that. That's what they're trying to do at the same.
Doesn't sound like you're buying it. You don't like it.
I'm not crazy about it. No, I just think it's.
You're not the one back there taking the hits.
Well, no, I know, but it's a collision game, and it's. I think it takes some strategy away if you're trying to pooch it or try to pin your team down, deep in their end zone or near their end zone, and now you can fair catch it. So it's going to change special teams approach, I'm sure, in a lot of respects as well. But we'll just live with it and move on.
Your guy LeBron, after being eliminated 4 games, Don was asked about.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think? You're 38 years old. You got a lot of wear and tear on the body. He says really where he has the trouble are ankles and feet from playing for so many years on the hardwood surfaces. Otherwise, he's been relatively healthy throughout most of his career.
Astonishing.
He did the old, I got a lot to think about and this and that and the other thing. Look, eventually, you can use this anytime you want.
Okay.
Nobody beats Father Time. So he's eventually going to have to retire, but I certainly don't see it. I mean, he did the non-committal last. I don't think any of them expected to go, you know what, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm retiring after tonight. But I don't think he's going anywhere as soon. I don't think.
You can float a lot of theories about either coming back to play for another team or potentially, if anyone's capable of doing it, maybe he is. His son Bronny's going to USC next year. So he said he'd love to play with him. Well, the only way you can do that is by sitting out a year. Bronny's getting drafted if he's good enough, and then LeBron signing with the team that he gets drafted by. That's the only way you can assure yourself of if that's indeed your last year, your last goal. I think LeBron's capable at I guess at that point close to 40 of coming back, sitting out a year, resting, and he'll keep himself in amazing shape. He played every minute of the first half last night.
He scored the most points in one half of an NBA playoff game, more than he has in any other half of an NBA playoff game. And he's played in a lot of NBA playoff games.
He has. I mean, he's played a ton of them, and and kudos to LeBron. I mean, a lot of people, aren't he's not their cup of tea, but
I enjoy him. I like that he speaks his mind. I'm not a just dribble and shut up guy. If he has things to say, he can say, because you can always tune out those kinds of things if you don't want to hear him. But if he wants to speak his mind, it doesn't matter. It's always been an interesting interview when it comes to the games themselves. He's
100%,
and he's obviously as talented as an NBA player as we've seen ever.
And because the Lakers are the Lakers, 100%. There's always going to be a soap opera appeal to what's going on in the offseason. What changes are the Lakers going to make? Now they're already talking about signing your guy, Kyrie. Maybe the missing piece. I mean, D'Lo's basically played himself in a situation where he's going to...
Again. I don't understand.
He's lost a lot of money in this playoff series, that's for sure.
He seems to either be brilliant or brutal, and he's more brutal than he is brilliant. Yeah,
they couldn't even play him last. I mean, didn't want to even shoot the basket. But
am I too cynical to think that there would be a team out there that would say, under the scenario you painted, that they would go, "Oh, we'll draft Bronny if it means LeBron's going to sign," because you talk about coverage and ticket sales and jersey sales, that would do it. No. Or you even take him as an undrafted free agent. So you go, you're the Cleveland Cavaliers, especially going back to Cleveland.
Signing Bronny.
You sign Bronny, and then James says, I'm in, and now suddenly you got the two playing together. Yeah, it probably will happen.
I don't think it's being cynical at all. I think it's just good business. I mean, a lot of teams are struggling. Even Miami has a lot of empty seats. Certainly they have a lot during the regular season, but think about Miami right now. Florida hockey team's on the verge of sweeping the series and get to the Stanley Cup Finals. Miami's on the verge of sweeping the Boston Celtics out of the Eastern Conference Finals. And that's, you don't think of those areas necessarily. It's certainly not in hockey. But the Dolphins will be starting up again. But my God, what a run for that area of Florida right now.
Your guy, Gobert, followed in the footsteps of Aaron Rodgers, and he did a darkness retreat, and he said it was the most life-altering, life-changing experience he's ever had in his entire life.
I really thought it was an article out of The Onion when I saw it first. I saw that shed or whatever he was in, and I went, no, this is a joke, right?
It looks like an outhouse is what it looks like. It
does. How long was he in there?
He only went for 2.5 days, I think. He didn't do the 4 like Aaron did.
Wow.
Maybe there's something to it. Have you considered it, Margaret? You've lived in the dark most of your life, so it shouldn't faze you to be there.
Between 2 and 3, I'm kind of in the dark every day.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's kind of the new in vogue thing, where people they find those flotation tanks and other things that they do, but those are really usually for an hour, or just to go meditate for a while. I guess when he comes back, we'll find out more. Now, Ant, who's been around town, is still talking.
He's going to do one too?
No, he's going to France.
Oh,
to go hang out with Rudy Gobert this summer and work on their pick and roll game, or whatever they're going to work on. I think Ant was down in Miami the other day with my buddy A-Rod.
He was?
Yeah, but I think he's heading over there. So, yeah, there's never the NBA and the NFL in particular, because of the network way they cover them, they never really have off seasons, and it's still all about the Lakers. What are they going to do now? It's like, if I'm Denver going, hey, hello, I'm over here. We're going to the finals. We just swept them. Pay attention to us. I
think they're okay with it.
I think they're fine with it.
47 years that team has been in existence and never forget playing.
Great players.
They've never been in the forget about winning an NBA title. They've never been into the NBA finals at all.
No. Well, I want to say it gives the Wolves hope, because I think so, because they built it in a way that I think the Wolves are trying to do. No, here's an idea. Get past the first round and get back to me. It's happened once.
If the Twins make the postseason and get knocked out in the first round, that means all 4 of our teams will have been knocked out in the first round. Vikings got beat by the Giants.
Right.
We know that both the Wild and the Wolves were eliminated in the first, and then the Twins would. So that's something to hang your hat. In other words, you'd rather the Twins advance, but if they don't, it's a nice consolation prize. Yeah. Right?
They don't have an NIT to go to. The equivalent.
No, they don't.
Which is what. Oh my! I know. I shouldn't really get frustrated with the Twins in particular right now. I'm really trying not to, but it's not easy.
No,
you warned me.
Again, I've had a couple of people email today, 2 emails on the same topic with the offensive woes. They say, I know that we got Pablo in exchange, but we lost a leadoff hitter, a guy that, and I didn't watch him enough to know that if he worked the pitcher in that first at-bat of the game tirelessly and got 8, 10, 12 pitches on him. But, there is something about being a leadoff hitter, being the straw, and he's doing that now. I don't know how successful Tampa Bay got traded to, right?
Miami.
Miami. I don't know how successful Miami. I know Tampa Bay's successful. They started the season like 21-0 or something, but
they're okay.
I don't know how much he's helped that club, but again, you have to trade something to get. So you have to give something up to get some. But man, that's when you got a table setter like that, and it's
and I know he's hurt right now. A couple guys are hurt, but you still have enough left here. Where Polanco and Kepler's coming back from an injury, and then it sits on Correa is being paid a lot of money. He's at 203 right now. And Buxton, and who's still running gingerly, played last night. Gallows hit some home runs, but he's not hitting for average right now. You got enough guys and pop in that lineup. Kirilloff, who I really like as a hitter.
I don't know the offense. I keep hearing about how talented our lineup is and how much pop we have in it. That's not this team is. Tenneby, could you Google maybe league offense, team stats, like batting average? I got to think we're near the bottom, or maybe if there are teams that are hitting worse than we are, that's
certainly the runners
sad.
in scoring position,
and bases loaded.
Yeah,
we've been awful.
That's where they've been abysmal. That's where they've lost a lot of games. Where I still like the trade because they are getting that. If you look at the pitching matchups almost every night, you go, they got a chance. They got a chance to be in this game because you're going to get at least 5-6 good innings out of your starter.
This is true,
and you can't ask for more than that. No matter who you're facing, and it's incumbent. Again, it's not Memorial Day yet. That's coming up this weekend. You think, okay, let's see if they can flip the switch a little bit and start hitting in the clutch. Because my God, if you can't win this division this year, I don't know what to say, because I can't believe these teams are going to be this mediocre for a long period of time.
They're not as bad offensively as you might think.
Okay.
Batting average, they are. They're 24th in the league in batting average.
Not good.
Their OPS, on base plus slugging, is middle of the pack, 16th. But runs scored, they are tied for 11th.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
In all of Major League Baseball.
That's just a lot of that's in the I think
they've had some bursts though where they're scoring. They had the one weekend that 16 in a game after they had an 11 before.
A little deceiving.
Well, we talked earlier about Buxton and Correa. This was in the piece about Buxton today about how he's finding a way to stay in the lineup and instead of missing 10 games. Blah blah blah. It says last night Buxton went 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Mm-hmm. He left 3 runners in scoring position with 2 outs.
Yeah,
he's the guy. It's like he and Correa. They're not going to be 6 other, but more times than not, it seems these guys are leaving runners in scoring position, not getting the timely hits. That's what they're paid.
And again, the wear and tear is not on Byron Buxton this year because he hasn't played one game in center field. Is that hurting him at the plate? But that's all he has to think about is his next at bat. And when he's out in center field, he's not dwelling on that. I'm not playing Dr. Phil here and psychologist. Bottom line is he just has to hit better. And Correa in particular, I mean, after this dance he had all offseason with the,
Mets and Giants,
he comes back here and, and he's just not, you don't see him coming up to the home plate and go, thank God he's coming up and then on second and third, 1 out. I mean, he's just not getting that clutch hit right now.
Common, I just drove by the old Vikings ship at 494 and 169. Ask Rosie why the Wills haven't moved that important symbol to their new home. Are they trying to erase all the old Vikings history?
Oh, just the opposite. They've embraced the history more.
Then why won't they bring that ship, that wooden ship?
Well, they have a ship over in front of U.S. Bank.
They literally designed the stadium to look like a ship.
Why won't? But that was.
Where are you going to put it?
That was Jim Fink's ship. That was Bud's ship.
Yeah. It's kind of.
Did you say where are you going to put it?
Isn't it kind of falling apart?
Well, that's a refurbish it. That's a
plenty of land in Egan to put
that's a piece of
Egan. I thought you meant a U.S. Bank.
You could bring it to U.S. Bank. You could put it. You could put it on the top of the stadium like a hood ornament. Do you not understand that that's a piece of history and this is rotting
I'm
there?
acutely aware of the history of that.
They leave it there long enough, it's going to be just like Noah's Ark, sitting on top of Mount Ararat, just sitting there rotting away.
That's sad. I saw Hub Beads the other day at Bud's thing. Hub was there. I talked to him for a little while. Hub Beads, the original Viking mascot. He was dressed in his gear. I think he's 88 or 89 years old. And he looked good. A nice little quick conversation with him. But, man, it was good to see him.
Well, and I think most people are aware of the story if you've been around long enough. He just donned that costume one day and showed up at the gate, and they said, "Come on in." And from that moment on, he was
the guy on the sidelines.
He was the guy he was there. He just came up with the idea on his own. They let him in. He was
he looked like a Viking. I mean, he did.
And then who was the guy that rode the Harley all the time and then decided he wanted $20,000 a game? And they said, ride your Harley off into the sunset.
Oh my God! Why can't I think?
What was his name?
Metrodome.
Ragnar.
Oh, Ragnar. Yeah.
So isn't that the story? Ragnar then went to say he wanted like $20,000 or something a game.
$20,000 a game.
Yeah, and they just basically said you can ride off into the sunset. We'll pay for your gas, but that's about
he
it.
used to ride on the field and point at Brett Favre and all these stop his motorcycles in midfield and just point at the other quarterback, the other team, try to intimidate him. It's all a joke, but it was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he priced himself out of that job.
Yeah. In a real hurry. I thought that was a fair price.
Yeah.
$20,000 for every home game. That's you got at the time you had 2 preseason games. That's $200,000 a year, am I right? 10 games times $20,000. He only wanted $200,000 a year.
Sounds reasonable.
Ride a motorcycle around the field.
Cheaper than another defensive back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can't blame a guy for trying.
No.
Right? You may as well ask.
I think he was.
The worst they can say is no. What if they would have said, that's a bargain. Love to have you. Come on.
I think he worked in a school system.
He may have.
Yeah. He did.
He may have.
When he's not doing that on Sunday afternoons. Oh, those were the days.
Yeah, pretty good gig if you can get it. Minute or two to go. Is there anything else that's...
I'm still reeling from program password, so I'm having
that was
very competitive match. But
I thought you guys had it.
I'm not sure what to get out of any of this because just OTAs. But Sam Ekstrom tweeted, notable from Vikings OTAs today, he says unofficial, not seen, Justin Jefferson, Delvin Cook, Daniil Hunter, Jordan Hicks, Harrison Smith, Ross Blacklock. Limited.
Are they holding out?
Limited, Jordan Addison, Harrison Phillips, Byron Murphy, and then not active, Brian O'Neill, Dwayne McBride, Blake Prohl.
What do you make of that, Mark Rosen?
Not much. I mean,
sure?
It's not mandatory right now. I think the JJ thing is, after June 1st next week, right?
He's JJ.
I think we're going to see some movement with Dalvin, saying goodbye to Dalvin.
The movement is out of town.
Out of town. Working on a new deal. I'm sure they're communicating with JJ's agent. At some point that'll get done. But who else? I think the Daniil Hunter thing is always a little. I heard PA talking about it. It's always a little kind of an enigma.
What did PA have to say?
Well, that he
thinks he's coming back, or
but it's always this money thing. I think hanging over the head of Daniil Hunter.
Yeah.
About what his worth is and how they're planning to use him and. Where are we at with Daniil Hunter's career? He's just sort of stuck in the middle a little bit. As talented as he is, and as important as he is, especially for a team that desperately needs a pass rush to make their inexperienced secondary flourish or get an opportunity to flourish, Daniil Hunter's a key guy under Brian Fleury's defense. So, no, I wouldn't make too much out of it right now when you talk about this, these OTAs.
Hey, Tennessee, is there a chance that if Dalvin does go, you can put together a please don't go? Because he's eventually going to go.
We can kind of do it now before he goes. Like if we know the exact day. You want to do it beforehand.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
There's plenty of Dalvin highlights.
Yeah, because that's one of our favorite when a player's about to leave, we play.
When's the day going to be? June 1st, Rosie? When is it?
Sunshine, man.
Yeah, I think that's the date where that's where the clock starts. I think on the contractual stuff.
I love you.
The other Sam Ekstrom tweet, he wrote, there were about 20 minutes of 7-on-7s or 11-on-11s, so not a ton of real football. He said there was one fun rep where Flores put 3 safeties on the field, Seen, Bynum, Metellus, and flooded the line of scrimmage to threaten blitz. Very Zimmery.
Zimmery?
Very Zimmery.
No. Wait, hit no. Oh, my gosh.
That's going to set Tampa Bay into a frenzy right now, trying to prepare for that game.
B-Flow is going to change this defense. It's going to be an attacking defense, an unpredictable defense, very active defense, very dangerous defense. Here's my prediction. Very first game that we play for Tampa Bay will get the ball in their first possession at the 25-yard line.
Right.
The quarterback will get up there. He'll look at the defensive alignment and use a timeout before they even snap their first play from scrimmage.
You'll be so confused.
Oh, yeah, because he's B-Flow.
Yeah.
That's what we've heard, that B-Flow is a defensive mastermind who shows you a lot of different looks. And just remember, I'm going to hold everybody to this. Everybody said it was all Ed Donatello's fault. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Because we got a new coordinator now.
It's a fair assessment.
We'll see if it was all Ed Donatello's fault.
Yeah.
We'll see you tomorrow, Wednesday at 2 o'clock would be my guess. Teneby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. We enjoyed our visit with you today. Hope you enjoyed Program Password quarterfinal action. When did you say the next Program Password is, Teneby?
Next Wednesday. Obviously with Memorial Day weekend going on.
Next Wednesday, and that will be at 1:15.
1:15 next Wednesday.
1:15. Hope to see you there. We'll visit with you tomorrow at 12 noon if you'd like. Stick around, though. Big Ticket, JG, they're next, right here on The Fan.
Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon. And good night, Minnesota.
And good night, folks. Night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
I'm a fraud.
Yes.
Listen back to any of Common Man's podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.